and welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the page that we started in Reptiloids by, I think it's, let's have a little look, that's it, Vasyl Saiko, and we'd done one tree, some of the stones, the grass down here and his hand last time, and we're going to work on his clothes today. So I've zoomed you in so that you'll be able to see, and I will try my best this time to keep my hand out of the way so you can actually see, and I will put all the pencils in the description box below. We are again using the Arteza Expert. I have the 120 set of pencils with the lemon yellow A004. I've just run it along for the reflection, the back of his hat, the side of his face and the top corner of his tunic, just to create the reflection that we're going to want there. But I am actually going to start further down first. So I've picked out 3 purples, a dark, medium and light, and the tones we have, I've got lilac, which is A062, lavender, A109, and royal purple, A058. And I'm going to start with my darker colour for the bottom, and again this book has a lot of the shaded lines toned in for you, so we're going to work up in these creases with our darkest colour. Following the guide provided for us by the illustrator, just to add the illusion that this robe was folded in on itself and creased, giving a deeper shadow. Also going to do some of the darker colour in the back, as that round shape will curl back over on itself and have a darker appearance on its far side. I think we'll do the same for where we meet this tree. A little bit of shadow, nice dark purple right the way along that edge, and we'll continue this up the arm. So this is an inwards fold, and then we've got some creases on the outside, and then this middle piece will be darker again because it's creased backwards and folded in, and then we've just got some folds again, and then again a recessed piece of the fabric where it will be darker in there, and we just continue to add all the shadow up the arm into this fold, especially on the inside edge there. This would be underneath his arm and would be dark. You just want to feather that out a little bit on the edge so it's not too thick a layer and it will blend. And the side of his coat here would be coming back around and underneath his arm, so that will be cast in shadow and will be his darkest tone. The same, they've kind of drawn this idea in for you here, where underneath his hood is casting a dark shadow, so we'll just blend that outwards, and the same underneath his hood here. I'm going to add purple over that black, give that shadow a purple look, and then add a thinner layer underneath, so we have a purple edge that's a bit softer. Same again along the side of those lines. The robe will be recessed, and I want to give a purple edge along the back of this tree. Again, blend it out a little bit so it will blend into the next colour. We do that all the way around that darker colour we've placed. I think I'm going to make this a fold as well. Right, let's see. So, and basically the easiest thing to do with colouring is work in sections. So for me, I've chosen this as my first section. So what I'll also do is add my final dark bits of colour to these last indents in his robe here. You're giving the illusion of folds by making it look like the darkest colour is on the curve of a fold. I'm just going to add a bit of feathering to this so that will blend as well. And that is our first layer of the darker purple. So I'm not going to use the medium purple now. I'm going to go to the lightest colour, and that is the lilac A062, and I'm just going to pop my highlight, so my palest pinky purple tone, in across the middle. I'm not popping too much pressure on, I'm not burnishing that colour in, just adding some pink and pinky purple to the page in that lightest tone. And then once we've got that where we want it, just so we're getting a little bit of, can't see it wonderfully on the camera yet, it's not dark enough, but we're just starting to get depth in our colour now by using different tones of purple. So now I'm going to take my medium colour, which is lavender, A109, and I'm going to just come over the edges of that darker purple and start to blend towards my pinky purple highlight. And not everything you do you'll like, not everything you do will work. A lot of these things, especially when you're newer to colouring, like I am, sorry about that, are all about trial and error and practice, finding the colour combinations that will work and the technique that makes them look right. And sometimes it just means adding more layers, adding another colour, darkening something up. In the end, most pictures will turn out looking just fine with a bit of tweaking. And art doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to enjoy doing it. And if you like it when you're done, that's a bonus. I tend to be a lot less fussy with the Amazon paper and wax pencils, to be honest. So you can see we've got the purple coming through with that nice pink tone. Now, because it's night time, these colours will not be too pale, and you wouldn't expect too much highlight. So I'm now starting to add another layer of that medium purple over the top of the initial, and as we add more layers we will get darker. Plenty of purple in the folds. And along the curved edges. And then we're going to take that palest purple and we're also going to darken up where we've popped our palest colour. So still a lighter colour, but making that more intense with another layer. And just by going over everything, it will create a nice warm purple, and it will just blend everything together somewhat without having to use a blender pencil or a white tone. I try not to do that. It will either, a blender pencil will change the colour, make things look a little bit grey and murky. A white tone will lighten everything, and that's fine sometimes, but a lot of the time you're better off just taking a paler version of the colour that you want and just adding it over the top. And then when you're happy with what you've got, you can then take your darkest tone again one final time, just to deepen up the shadow that you created, because you will lose that a little bit as you pop the paler purples over the top. I think we'll smooth out this dark line we've got going on here. Just going to drag the blend out a little bit just to stop that looking quite as intense. There we go. So now you want to have a little look and decide what you want to be darker. So I'm just dragging upwards with my pencil along the bottom edge. I just want this cloak to be a little bit darker down here where there wouldn't be any light. It wasn't all for nothing, because all these different purple tones that you've put in, they do affect the colour that you end up with. So although you go over it, everything adds to the picture that you're creating. There we go. I think we'll have a little bit more under the hood. Just following the weave of the fabric. So we're coming downwards this time into that, the fold of that arm, nice and dark. And there we have him. Now, I don't mind seeing the white of the page in my pictures. This is showing up more on camera. In real life you don't see a lot of white, but obviously if that does really bother you, you could burnish with your lighter colour, or even a cream or a white, or a burnisher if you prefer. But for me, I'll leave him like that. So we're going to do the top of his cloak. The only difference being this time that we've got the bit of yellow lying in along this top edge that we popped in. So again, we're picking, I might actually pop a little bit of the yellow just there. We're popping all the darkness in. I am leaving this yellow edge. So we're working almost like that yellow is the black line and only going up to it. So again, we're finding all our folds. These give creases that would give shadow behind them as the fabric falls behind. The same would then go for under his chin. Folded fabric under here along these lines that they've drawn in for us, and of course just ever so slightly along that bottom edge to give the illusion that it's rolled under a little bit. And again, going to add a bit of shade from my tree. So then we'll just give it a smoother, softer edge so that our colours will blend. I think we'll have it all quite dark under here. Underneath his snout will be in shadow, and I think we'll do the same just under here, like the fabric's rolled in on itself a little, and again a feathered edge. I want a little bit here because that would actually be the inside of that fabric, leaving only the yellow edge which is the top of that cloak. And I'm just again gonna pop a little bit of purple over the top of that to pop the two together, and then a little bit of purple over this black. So again, my lightest my lightest purple, my pinky purple in the middle, and across the top of his shoulder there, bringing it around in the curve of the fabric, and then the medium purple, the lavender, just to pair all these colours together. I'm just going to bring that just onto the yellow, just to bring the tones together. And we'll bring that purple around now. Around and down. Now I would normally turn my page around for the different angles and suggest you to happily do the same if that's how you colour. Create yourself some space, because you can tell what's happening for me here, because I'm colouring at an angle I'm not comfortable colouring. You end up putting a bit too much pressure on, and I'm starting to burnish the page in a couple of spots there, which I don't want to do yet on this first layer. So we'll go back to the lighter purple and blend in the layers with that one. Same here. Yep, this patch of paper is done. I'll not get a lot more from that now. So we'll just do down here. And then I'm going to take my darker tone and pop back in my shadow. Being careful in this area. Try not to create any harsh lines over that spotted page. Put my folds back in. And my shadow. And the same here. Nice dark purple underneath. Coming into that lighter purple. A little bit underneath his face. More shadow there. And I want to take down a little bit of this yellow edge. And then with my yellow, it's going to blend that out a little, so we don't have a harsh line of yellow. It's not what we want. We want it to look like the light's dispersing over the fabric. And there we have him. So you would do the rest of the stones, the other side of the tree, and the grass, all the same. It is night time, so whether you chose to just black this in, that's probably what I'm going to do. For the little flowers, for the sake of not adding too many colours into a page, and purple being a completely acceptable flower colour, we'll make them purple. So I'm just going to add some darkness on the outside edges with these. They're not drawn in detail, so we're not going to colour them in detail. We're just going to give them a darker outside edge and then a pinker inside edge. Going over that dark colour as well, just to burnish and blend that in. Nice and simple. They're not a main feature or focus of the page, so they don't need a lot to give what you need. Obviously the rest of him I will stick with the same green tones that I've used. And for my background I've decided that my moon, let's see now, is going to be a cream. I've got A058 cream. I'm going to cross hatch a couple of layers very quickly on my moon. You won't really see anything through the camera, but you will see that on the page. So then I'm going the other way to lay another layer quickly over the top of that. Shaking my camera on her. There we go. And then I'm going to give, I've got jasmine yellow, A058, which is a slightly darker yellow than the one we used for highlight. And I'm just going to ring the moon in this more yellow tone. I'm going along the inside of that line and the outside a little bit, starting to create the aura of the moon. Same all the way around. And then in the yellow we've used for the highlight, which is the lemon yellow A004, I'm now going to come slightly further out, very lightly, in this yellow. Nice fine layer, not pressing down, just to create, now you see, I'm going to have to turn the page this time a little bit, just all the way around the edge of that, just to give a faint aura. Now I want to do a night sky. I'm going to do a blue to a dark blue to a black, I think, but yellow and blue make green, so it's not a good idea to go from that to the blue unless you want a green, and then it's fine, but I don't. So around the edge of that yellow I'm going to do a ring of white. Coming onto the yellow some, just to blend, bring that back round, and again, all the way around. I'm pressing slightly firmer, but not trying to over burnish or put too much white down. I will want the blue to go slightly over that. And then for my night sky, I've chosen peacock blue A008, sapphire blue A103, and then noir A012. And the paler blue, the peacock, I'm going to start with that. So I'm going to work inwards this time because obviously I'm working towards that white, and I can't exactly tell totally where it is, but you'll be able to feel it once your pencil hits the white. And then you just want to just slightly blend into the edge of that white, and what you'll actually end up is with a really pretty white layer between the yellow and the blue. Just a little, you don't need a lot. And again, I'm working outwards in a circle. You can come as far out as you like, because you can always lay your darker colour over your lighter blue easily enough. And again, as we get closer to that white layer, I can feel I've hit it just there, so just starting to very gently pop a very fine layer of blue into the white until we almost touch that yellow, but not quite. And around you go. Now you can use a compass to mark your circles or whatever you like, or you can do what I'm going to do, and by eye decide how much of the yellow you want, how much of the white you want, the blue, the darker blue and the black. And with my second blue, I'm just starting to darken an outer edge. I do want a night sky, so I'm not leaving too much of that lighter blue ring. I'm bringing my darker blue, I think, to about here. So as I get to the point where I've decided, we just start to blend that out a little, thinner layer. And you can come back in with your paler colour. And obviously the beauty of this, that first layer I popped down was a much paler blue than I intend to end up with. I'm building my layers up into the blue that I actually want, because it is much easier to do that than to wish your sky was paler. And again, another layer of this darker blue. And you can see my sky just will get darker and darker. And to show this, I will add my black, starting in around here. And with the blue underneath, it'll give a blue tone to my black. And that's why I didn't just pop the black straight on. I've more shaded the blue with the black. You can then go back in with your white to blend the blue. And end up with this softer transition between the moon and the sky. You can see I've got a bit close to that yellow with the blue. I'm going to add a bit of white onto that. Tiny bit of green down there. Oh no, not to make that mistake higher up. And there we go. So your clouds, again, to create some shadow, we can pop, you can use a grey if you prefer. It could be a bit nerve-wracking to use a black. Just underneath the bottom edges of those. We're giving a bit of black. And across the top edges, I'm going to take the pale yellow. Just a little. Just for some highlight. And then obviously, as you finish, you can start to decide what you want to do about those black lines. There's a couple of options. You could use a gel pen, a Posca pen, or my preferred method is actually my ink, a white ink, but I've got the Signo pen here, the uni-ball Signo white. So we'll see how this does. We're just going to pop a layer. You usually need to do a couple of layers. To be honest, it's not the end of the world if you still see some grey. Just want to reduce those very prominent black lines from the picture. I'm going to do the same with my moon. There we go. And in contrast to the darker sky, once you get it added on, it will just look a little bit more realistic. Once that's dry, you could always add a little bit of a creamy yellow just to remove that bright white look to the edging. And if we bring you out a little bit, oh, let's not do that. Let's not drop you. Let's just lift you. You can see that sky start to look a little bit more realistic now. So, like I say, I'm not an expert. This is just showing the way I create my pictures. from the bits and pieces I've learnt. So I hope you liked listening to it. That's how I tend to watch these videos, to be honest. While I'm colouring, I tend to just listen to someone else colour for the company. If you do end up doing this picture, do tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see your versions of it. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.